This one's for music artists, managers, anyone that's interested in the music scene. Um, and also, guys, keep on forgetting, you can listen to me on Spotify. Um, I would appreciate if you can just go to my description, download my podcast on Spotify or what I'm doing. It will be a great support to me as I'm building up my personal brand and I'm building from scratch in terms of like Spotify and getting listened and whatnot. So let's get into this one. This guy is a goat. Goat. So let's take him in. I'm going to start doing a lot of music insights as this is a music platform, a channel. But I do like to cover quite a lot of other stuff.
Walk me through what a manager and an artist in this climate.
I'm going to react to these, by the way, guys. And it's just for us. It's for the music, the managers, and giving you lot insights. So it's not one of them clickbait ones, but it's for you lot. So it should get 1 and 2K.
Should be looking for in their terms, in their deals, to protect their upside and minimize the downside?
Well, you never want to sell your masters, but artists always, for some reason, give up ownership of their masters because they want that check, but they don't understand.
Whoo! Let's get into it already. Let's get into it. So with Dig That and with look, I own 7 songs, but I own 3 songs. I signed 3 songs of an artist. And this is what I mean about owning your masters, because at the time the artist didn't used to stream, and obviously me doing the marketing and doing what I was doing, obviously we managed to get the song streaming and 4 or 5 years later the songs has made a total 3 songs has made £135,000 from 3 songs. It's cost around 25K to purchase the songs, the music videos, and the marketing. So it's a great investment and it's residual income. Now with Dig That, we released Air Force, and from releasing Air Force, Dig That wanted to get the song signed, and I'm like, bro, I'll just buy the song off you, bro. Like, what do you mean? Like, label's gonna give you 50K for the song. Like, what do you mean? I'll just buy the song off you. Don't do that. Do you know what I mean? And I begged him. Anyway, he listened to me. You get me? That song, Dig That's cool. Like for many years. Even like, do you know what I mean? He's cool in terms of monthly revenue. You don't need to you know what I'm saying. And then what happens is, and this is what I was saying to the Packs and Potions Hazy song, this is what I'm saying to most songs, they blow up and you sign your song. When really and truly, you sign your song to buy a AP or a Rolex, but really and truly, they're meant to be blowing up and you're meant to be chatting to distribution to make the song even get bigger. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, but let's get into this.
Understand that they're never going to recoup. The bigger the check you take, the more in debt you are with the record company. Yeah. So a lot of artists, they'll tell you they want to be independent. They'll tell you they want to be entrepreneurs. They'll tell you they're smart, but they're really not. You know, Priscilla was...
Do you know what it is? What he's saying is facts. In the UK, in America, there's more knowledge out there. In the UK, there's not as much knowledge. So they will tell you that they're smart, they're not smart because there's not the correct information. And imagine artists blowing up here, bro. Like, see, when all eyes are on you, sometimes it's overwhelming, bro. Like, you're just like, you can't even think straight. And it's very important to have the right crowd of friends around you, because it's like, yeah, like if you are signing a massive deal. Now look, you can do it, you can play devil's advocate here. I refer to Dig That. I've closed other deals with other artists. Don't really want to mention their name because obviously some of the deals, I closed a deal with Hardy Caprio, you get me, just before Hardy Caprio had the madness with his labels, you get me. His deal was very good, big bread in the millions. But Dig That deal, in man's head is like, okay, we're gonna sell 2 projects, but it's just in that space. We're gonna do 2 projects. The project has to be released in this time and this time, and we're gonna sell it for X. The deal was worth over £1 million. You get me? Boom, boom, boom. So 2 projects, and then we're out. So in our head, we're dropping a project now. Within a year, we're out. Then we can negotiate. You get me? So all we have to do is chart do this project, a great mixtape, and then make this other project better than the mixtape. Get a higher chart, get higher album sales. It leaves man in a great position of being independent. Then the next down the route was, okay, sign a massive deal for a label or sign a distribution deal.
Smart. She's an adult. She's been around the block. She signed to a major record company. She sold her rights before. She understands the value of when you own something, which you could get for it because she owned her publishing and she sold her share and she was able to get a nice check for it. So at the end of the day, you know, she sold a part of her catalog. So when you own something, you know you could sell it. So she was very smart, but most artists are just very, you know.
You can now own a one.
So yeah, obviously there's not much information. Like he's come now and doing information. Do you know what I mean? There's not crazy information.
And they'll sell their rights and they'll settle for a royalty.
Yeah.
But if I'm advising you, I would tell you to never sell your rights. I would tell you to stay independent as long as you can, so you could basically write the terms you want and pretty much write your own.
And that is the ideal situation. But when you're from the strip and you're from the slums, and sometimes when you're in the hood and you're in the hood and it's getting close calls for you, you're meant to, if you're gonna do that, sell a single with an option. Single with an option. I'm locked in with the label for the next 6 months, no problem. You get me? Singles can be 40K, 50K, 70K with an option. Boom, you know, you got 120 there, something sitting down, whatever. Now that will give you room to maneuver, move out the area, and think straight. You get me? Now, when you get that advance, bro, move out the area and build a home studio. Boom, you got your production now. You got your masters, your productions, your infrastructure.
Deal. And that deal to me is where, one, you have ownership. There's a reversion on the license. So you're doing an exclusive license with the record company, and the rights revert back to you after 10 years, maybe 12 years max. So literally, let them develop the repertoire, and then once they, 10 years after recoupment, or maybe sometimes it's 10 years after the end of the term.
At the end of the term, right.
Right?
Yeah.
All those rights revert back to you.
Yeah.
So you can literally self-distribute it through DistroKid, United Masters, TuneCore, and they've got to take it off of their distribution portal. And you basically own all the rights, and you even control the license and the administration of the masters. So I would do a deal where you own your masters. There's a reversion where you get all your rights back, because when you own your masters and you do a license, they're licensing your master so they could have exclusive rights to distribute it and administer the rights. So if they're licensing it to film and TV, they can negotiate all the deals.
So they're licensing it, but you own your masters. You get me? So for example, with my 3 songs, I own my masters, so they can license it. I want to license this for 10 years. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to do this. But I want to license it. But I own my masters. I can still sell my masters if I want to. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But I want to be that person to license it. So, yeah.
They can also use your repertoire to leverage deals with YouTube, Spotify, Apple. But when you get those rights back, you now own the licensing, admin rights, and all the ownership. And then I wouldn't do anything more than a 70-30 split, because you want to give them some skin in the game. So I would
favor
in favor of the artist.
Yeah, okay.
So I want my artists to have at least 70%. If I can get them 80, I'll get them 80. But I want them to have at least 70%. And I don't want any distribution fee. So it's a clean 70-30 profit split where all costs come off the top.
Right.
And when I say all costs come off the top, in most cases.
So when he says all costs come off the top, and he said you don't want no distribution, I think he was saying basically you don't want an upfront fee. So all costs, what I take from it, I might be wrong, when all costs come off the top is sometimes when you're doing deals, they might come with like, I got 500K for you, get me? And there's a 70-30 split. So until the 500K is recouped, then then it starts working a 70-30. You get me? Maybe.
The A&R is recouped against the artist. The marketing is a shared cost. I want every dollar off the top. So if you spend $1 million, we're sharing that expense. So
Okay.
if we make $10 million, that $1 million comes off the top. And off the $9 million profit.
It comes, okay, cool. It halves.
70.
70 in our favor, 30 in your favor. And I want no distribution fee.
Okay.
Because that's, to me, the way they really take advantage of artists.
Yeah.
Because you're getting free money, and they usually want to take a 10 to 12% distribution fee. And to me,
don't be like this camel.
Oh, guys, I don't even know what is going on, but let me just mute this quick. But yeah, obviously, this is the business. See, my man, he's a real GOAT. He's a GOAT. One sec, let me flip my screen now.
actually, ship these records to the stores, whether Sam Goody, Best Buy, Walmart, Target, the record stores, and there would be breakage, cases of CDs or vinyl would end up missing. So they actually had an out-of-house company distributing the records.
Gold.
The records, the record that then turned
The
into
physical
CDs.
product, yeah.
They get
tapes,
more money from.
cassettes. And they would take a distribution fee.
Yeah,
because they would
yeah,
have
yeah.
to pay their distributor.
But that's business, though, bro. It's business. Like that's a smart business. Obviously, you're giving crazy insights of like how a deal structure should be, what a manager and artist really needs to know about their music business, and this is gold dust, bro. What you're giving, you get me? But it's their business of like how they're gonna make extra revenue. So it's like if we, for example, have a club, like it's like what Dame Dash done, innit? You had Rocco, you had State Property, and you had Beanie Siegel selling State Property stuff. Now, it was Dame Dash's company, it was whatever, Rockefeller or Rockaware, whatever, that was producing it, the property, that was producing the merch. So you might get the merch for $2 a t-shirt, or $1 a t-shirt, or $5 a t-shirt, and then Beanie Siegel then sells it for $20. You get me? But really, Dame Dash just got it for 50 cents. But he just made, you get me, $1.50, $4.5 profit. So it's like, bro, it's business, isn't it? It is business, but he's speaking
To distribute these records to all these stores, put them on planes, ship them across the country. Now everything is digital. So what's the distribution fee? Like, what's the distribution fee?
Okay, he's facts.
It's fake news. You're actually stealing money. It's their way of just taking their money off the top.
Yeah.
Because they assume most of it is going to be a loss anyway. They assume most artists they sign are not going to work out. So at the least, let's make sure we take our 10 to 20% off the top.
So we don't lose.
When the artist is in a position where they barely recoup, at least we know we made our
Money back.
shortfall in the distribution fee. So I always try to negotiate where they don't get their distribution fee. But most labels, they don't want to budge. They may go down to 7%, 5%, but they always want a little distribution fee. So
How do you get them to move off of that?
you just don't sign.
You gotta be hot property. Like, you gotta be one of them artists that everyone wants. So then, whatever man puts into the contract is, man's gonna start a bidding war. There's gonna be Atlantic Records, Columbia, Relentless, do you know what I mean? Island, Virgin, and say, look, this is man's deal. This is what man wants. I'm gonna go off and get this over the line. Then you got the big boys, you get me, that now I'll be like, yeah, sign it, bro. Just to beat them, to have to own market share, you sign this, you get me? They want this. The person that's advising them is really smart here. You get me? He's smart. Do you know what? Just look at the numbers, just do
the
it.
deal. And if they want the market share, because at the end of the day, what the labels are really looking for is the market share. And I remember when Lucy and
What did I tell
Grange,
you?
wanted to
What did I tell you guys? And this is UK. I've got you lot, man. You get me? I'm happy that I'm in a space and I've gone through the trials and tribulations that I've gone through to teach the game. And I'm a student to the game, but I soak up knowledge and I understand and I have common sense. You get me? I have common sense of, okay, and things get better marketing gets better. So yeah, also just to let you lot know, it's always my business, the Bounce Hub, marketing consultancy, artist development. I've got a community with 2,200 people in now, and we're doing weekly webinars. You get me, covering mechanical royalties, how to claim sync, marketing, digital marketing, and I'm gonna be adding more, and I'm gonna be going from country to country to, do you know what I mean? Have that community being the best in the world. You get me? So there's gonna be times like times where there's gonna be rooms on when man's sleeping. Do you know what I mean? I want to have it as the best one. It's gonna take a couple years to build. At the moment, in 8 days, it changes to a monthly subscription, and a monthly subscription is gonna be around £20 to £25 monthly subscription. It's on the school app. I'm number 16th on the school app actually, as of having in the music space, having a great community engaging. So I'm happy about that, number 16th. And right now is a one-off payment of £50 for lifetime access. So if you're a music artist, I kid you not, bro, the amount of contacts that you're about, that's gonna happen in there, the amount of artists that you're gonna be able to work with around the world, the amount of insights, the amount of money that you're gonna save in terms of knowing what to do. I recommend it. Not because it's me, I just recommend it. Like every single day people are joining. A man's not even going crazy with it, you get me? So in the next year, it will be great to see the community and travel in the world, you get me? So click the link in the description, join the school community. You can also download it in your app. So you can have it on your app. It's like Facebook. It's crazy, bro. Just the classroom sections as well. There's many. There's a lot.
Sign Money Long. I mean, he wanted to approve the deal. Tunji was signing Money Long to Def Jam.
Yes.
And I remember clearly Lucian said, I need the market share. I need the market share.
Yeah.
And I need it for Def Jam. Yeah, because it was a very competitive deal where, you know, multiple Universal labels wanted the deal.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't bid against your own brother and sister company. So if
what happens is, if you're in Universal, so Universal has Virgin, Island Records, it has Virgin, it has Island Records, it has my mind's gone blank. It has a number. I think it has Polydor, etc., etc., etc. And if Island Records reaches out to you, and then flipping, they put an offer in, Virgin Records can't now be like, look, I'm gonna give you a higher offer because you can't bid against that. You get me? So the only thing, what happens with the labels is then they push you down to like, okay, get distribution. But what we can do, if we're in the Warner building and we got Parlophone, we got Warner, do you know what I mean? We got Atlantic Records. Obviously, you can bid against Virgin and Warner, or you can do so if you're in Sony building. You've got Relentless, you've got Ministry of Sounds. You get me? You got Columbia Records. You got Black Butter, and then obviously it's the same thing. So you can have bidding wars, but you can't have it amongst each other because it's coming from the same building. But then, like what you're saying, you're talking about Lucian Grange, bro. I want market share. At one stage, if you kind of looked at the world of like even like Stormzy's, like where Stormzy was, you could look at Universal. You'd be like, bro, Universal's got a lot of market share in the black community. You know what I mean? If you look at Sony, you'd be like, okay, cool. Who was the big artist in Sony that in our scene? It was J Hus, Heady One, like in that building, like at that time. Obviously, J Hus is just signed to Empire, so yeah.
Jam is offering $2. The Republic has to offer $2. And Capital has to offer $2. You can't negotiate and bid against your own in-house, label.
So it's just down to the team now, isn't it? So if everyone offers $2, like, and they're in the same building, it's down to the A&R, like winning over, like I actually like these, like I'm gonna sign to these lot, marketing team, like I've met the whole team, they're amazing. So it's like meeting the team now, innit?
Lucian particularly wanted the market share at Def Jam. And I basically gave him my word that we're gonna make sure we sign it to Def Jam. And because market share is very important for these record companies.
Why is it important?
Well, because market share is one, how they negotiate their deals with the DSPs, like Spotify, YouTube, Apple. The market share leader runs the business. They basically run the negotiation at the table. So if you control the market share, you control the negotiation at TikTok.
So when you say negotiating deals, obviously labels are definitely gonna get better rates than artists, innit? 1 million streams is $4,000. Labels is not receiving 1 million streams for $4,000.
TikTok. You get to pull your music off of TikTok because you have all the leverage when it comes to the way they do their licensing deals, because you control most of the repertoire that goes on these platforms that are licensed by the Spotifys, the YouTubes. And market share also pays bonuses, healthy bonuses to the label heads. So based on market share, based on labels making their numbers, certain executives are rewarded.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp.
Bro, it's doing me over, man. I don't even know how. I know why I'm on this page. I know why I'm on this page. One sec. I'm on a different YouTube. That's why it does this. I'm on my original YouTube channel.
Very handsomely with a nice bonus.
Right.
Hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, when they make their year and they have a certain amount of market share.
So to your point, UMG is the leader in market share. Not too long ago, UMG just renegotiated with Spotify.
So basically, you know, we keep on hearing the number, you know, Spotify pays 3 to 5, you know, 0.003 to 0.005.
Yeah. Something like 3,500
Yeah,
for 1 million streams.
Approximately.
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
That's been the number for years, right? But that's what they pay the labels. Apparently. But over the last 4 years,
They don't pay he said apparently that's what they pay the labels. They don't pay the labels that, trust me.
the payouts have tripled. It went from $3 billion in, let's call it 2021, to now $9 billion. So Spotify pays out to the rights holders, the owners of the masters and the publishing copyrights, the publishers, 70% of all revenue from subscription and advertising.
Okay.
And it's weighted differently, right? Because there's some tiers in India and developing markets where they're not paying a full $11.99. You know, all streams aren't weighed the same, right? So if America pays more because it's a lot of premium streams versus more developing markets like India, parts of Latin America. But bring it all together, they're paying anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 per million streams to the labels. And that's been the case for the last decade.
But what about the independent artists? Are their streams weighted differently than the major labels?
Listen, they go through aggregators too. They go through DistroKid.
And those distros
They
have to
go
do the
through
deals with
United
DSPs.
Masters. They go through downtown. I mean, you think DistroKid the company is valued at a couple $1 billion, and you don't have to pay to upload your music to DistroKid. Now they do have a tier where you got to pay $20, but I'll tell you right now, if Spotify is paying out $9 billion to rights holders, and 4 years ago they were paying out $3 billion, how come the amount of revenue per million streams hasn't changed? Right?
Right.
So if, let's say for example, you know, and out of the...
And this is what you got to ask yourself, man. It's deep. It's deep. This is game, guys, yeah?
70% they pay to rights holders. Out of that 70%, 85% goes to the labels, and The other 15% is paid to the publishers, who are also owned by the labels.
By the labels.
Right? So let's assume, for the sake of math, Universal controls 50% of the market. And Spotify is paying out 70% of $9 billion. But let's round it up to $10 billion, right? So you're paying out $7 billion to rights holders. And let's assume Universal controls 50% of the market. So that means Universal is getting $3.5 billion a year.
And that's what you call market share. I want to own market share. This money needs to come back into the company. We're going to sign artists, marketing, but the business, the mechanicals, how the business works, it needs to. And this is why last year, Universal, loads of people, thousands of people got made redundant because of AI, creative, and jobs are getting cut now. Yeah, it's deep. It's deep.
From Spotify alone. Just because they're licensing their music to the platform that's charging $11.99 and they're making money off of advertising. How come the, amount per million streams hasn't changed in the last 7 years?
Right, because they control the market share royalty.
Yeah, but the price, the amount of money that Spotify pays out to the right holders has tripled.
Yeah.
In the last 4 years.
Yeah.
They paid out about $3 billion in 2021. Last year, they paid out $9 billion. So why hasn't the money changed? One would argue that maybe there's some deals being made behind the scenes when it comes to the distribution.
Yeah, because
of course there's deals. This is why I was saying that Universal, do you think Universal gets paid out $4,000 per stream for 1 million streams to just Adam here that's just dropped music? It's totally different levels, bro. Business is deep.
Money going?
Yeah, where's the money going? That's the problem. And listen, it's all based on, the amount of streams per artist. So let's assume Drake, Taylor Swift, Post Malone are making up the majority of that share. Because they're doing billions of streams the weekend. They're not getting the majority of that pie.
Those artists?
No.
Yeah.
They're paying out based on your deal, based on your royalty deal, not based on the amount of streams. So one would argue that
इंडियन अकाउंटेंट के लिए यूएस सीएमए की प्रोफाइल.
Bro, I'm never going onto this page again, bro. Sorry, guys. Actually, never doing it. Actually don't understand. Luckily, it does the fast forward thing, because this is a 4-minute ad.
a lot of money being made behind the scenes that's not going to the artists. And everything is based on what the label is telling you you're going to get paid per million streams, or what you're going to get paid for a CD that costs $12.99, but it's retailing for $20. We don't know what that.
This is why you need to be selling and focusing on super fans. Focus on your fan base. You get me? Focus on your fans. Whoever's following you, engage with them. Build up your data. Get their emails and their numbers. Build up your community. Build up a paid community. This here, bro, the game's mad. And if you're not clued onto the game, bro, you will get eaten up alive. Period.
Back-end deals they were making back then when they were shipping those CDs.
Right.
But then selling them at Sam Goody. I believe that the same kind of business tactics are happening when it comes to streaming, because it's common sense to me. If Spotify is paying out $9 billion to the rights holders in 2024, and in 2021, they were paying out $3 billion, how come that $3,500 per million streams hasn't increased times 3?
Yeah.
That means there's a problem. And
imagine that. How comes that $3,500 times 3? Man's talking about $10,000. How come it hasn't increased to $10,000? Madness, bro.
they're making deals with the distribution. You can't just upload your music to Spotify, and it's based on market share. So you heard this new.
Of course, they're gonna make deals. It's like to me saying, look, here, I've got millions of artists I got millions of artists here ready to upload. What deal are you gonna do me on per million streams, per stream? Yeah, we have to pay our artists this. This is what we have to pay out. But what deal are you gonna do me? Okay, cool. If you can meet these numbers, this is the tiers. If you can meet this tier, and this tier, if you can meet these numbers, then I'm gonna give you flipping $10,000 per million streams. You can pay out your artists. You get me? And like you said, this Drill Kid is worth billions.
Situation with Spotify where they're saying if you have under 1,000 streams, you're not going to get paid.
Right.
But out of the 240 million songs on Spotify, half of them don't get more than 100 streams a year.
Right.
So one would argue that
get
half of the market share are songs that have under 1,000 streams.
Yeah.
If you're really paying out based on market share,
And that is crazy. And you're still making money from the streams.
then you would be paying out $4.5 billion to all those rights holders who don't even have 1,000 streams.
Right.
And of course the labels aren't going to be happy with that because that cuts in their pocket if that's really the case. So now they're saying, and of course the labels are not going to reissue their licenses unless Spotify starts playing different because the labels want more of the fucking pie.
Of course.
So now Spotify isn't paying any rights holder who doesn't have over 1,000 streams, which is the majority of the music released on Spotify.
Yeah.
Because
that is crazy. Yeah. And most artists, most of you lot, and this is what man focus on. This is why I say when I'm going to teach you how I got Siru from 500 monthly listeners to 100,000 monthly listeners. And now if you go to his page, he's got hundreds of thousands and millions of streams to break that cycle there. And when I speak to a lot of artists, bro, they have under 1,000 streams. And when I try to advise them, most UK artists, they just don't want to know, bro. They just, I'll do it by myself, no problem. But you've reached out to me for advice.
saying they're trying to combat, bots and fake artists and fake streams. But the truth is, most artists can't get 1,000 streams. That doesn't mean they're fake. That doesn't mean they're not.
And this is what man's saying. Most artists can't get 1,000 streams. They can't, bro. And this is what we need to tackle. That.
Real. That doesn't mean they should get paid for their 1,000 streams. Even if it's $10, they should get paid. It's their money. Somebody's streaming it, but they don't want to pay you, which is, to me, is a foul play. But the labels are printing cash. And obviously through these distribution licensing agreements that they're making with these DSPs, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, they're always going to make their money.
Yeah.
And then
Make sure you tune into these, look. This is done, but look, the manager's playbook. I'm going to start reacting more about the business side of music because that is my business, like, get me? So I'm going to do different tabs. Tomorrow, guys, I'm saying tomorrow. Today is tomorrow. I've got a vlog. I'm going to post this at 2 p.m. UK time, and I'm going to post my vlog. I got a vlog. No, I'm going to post this other way around. But yeah, my people, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Peace.